Well, okay, so sure, all I can tell you is this. To grow up in the hungry 30s, when the economic war was on, you'd have to forget money and go to school and it's a bit of bread out of your hand. And when you came to your teens, it was country dancing. And there was no hall, black, blue or white, or going into the town. For the town was nearly as bad as the country. It was all the one there wasn't any money anyway.
It was opened on the 17th of August, 1947, on a Sunday night. It was opened as a dance hall, and afterwards then they had pictures shown on Sunday nights when they wouldn't have a dance. It was known all over. People came from every place to it. You went into the dance at 9 o'clock, and the ladies lined up at the left and the men lined up at the right. And you stood up there until whatever lad felt like coming and taking you for a dance. And faith, oftentimes they'd pass us by and go off for something better. But however, and when your dance is over then, you went back again and you stood up until the next lad came the way. Whoever had asked you, you danced with him. And there was a lot of, in the old time waltzes, there was an excuse me waltz. And the lad had tapped the other fella on the shoulder and he'd have to let go of you. Let you dance with that lad again. And there used to be oftentimes ructions about that too.
This man called Tracy, James Tracy, was the man that took over the building of the cinema and dance hall. He decided my father to do the contract. He asked him to do it. I was working in London on a short time, about a year, and what they call bomb damage in a place called Wandsworth. I was going to leave it anyway. I meant to go out in Ireland again. My father said if I joined with him that he would, because I always worked with him since I was 13 years. But anyway, it was a very complicated situation in the line of finance, but I'd say it would be in the vicinity of about 11,000. Then it was a fairly awkward site to clear, and Tracy went to clear it, with no machinery at that time, only horses and cars, and shovels and picks.
Oh, the opening night was packed out. And the crowds that came to that, they were queuing all up the town.
I brought about 30 people in the lorry from Gorgini that said they'd like to go to the dance, men and women. And I pulled the lorry right outside the steps. And he had the price wrote up. And I counted by bringing him here, I seen every one of them without charging him a shilling. We went in the back and he had a quarter barrel or timber barrels that time or something. And to drink away and whiskey galore, everything.
That's the opening of the cinema. That's myself above there on the top. When the electricity came to Scariff then, the drama festival started in the Astor Cinema. There was nights that people couldn't get in. There was terrible crowds. One night they even broke a door in the cinema to get in. They were leaning so much against it, the door broke. Everybody in town lent chairs, and they got them from various halls and places, and they were put in where you dance. And then we'd fling away at dances ourselves, dance with the casts and that around. Often came up the street with our shoes off because we'd be afraid we'd be heard coming home at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. It was during Lent, and when they'd come, there was a dispensation that we could fry rashers, sausages and eggs for them. And they gloried in this eating of the meat in the evening time. Because at that time, I think you could only eat meat once a day, and you couldn't eat it on Fridays. The first production of Sive was in Scariff Cinema Hall. I think they won everything that was in it. John B. Keane was the producer. And the Lord be good to Dr. Bill Lucknan and John B. Keane were in my house a few times. And the yarns and the jokes that they had were something terrific, the two of them.
There was a different way of working. There was no factory. And there was no... The farmers, there was tilling more land, and there was employing young lads. Very bad money though. £1 a week. We had good men working at the cinema and at the school and the rover and at all we were in the world of buildings there around. I had surely 40 men the one day, and as fast as they could open bags of cement and toss it and go up in buckets. In front of the balcony we had a scaffold and we had men standing on them. And they hadn't time to hand the buckets down, they'd throw them. And we had often buy a dozen of buckets together across some sparrings. And they were here and shot the buckets and they finished. And the men, the day never cleared to make it worse. And every man got wet and he stuck it out. There was no roof on the cinema at this stage because the balcony wasn't up.
And we meet there along the road and we down together and back. They came from all over the country there, sure. Horses and traps and all kind of things. They had no cars to come on. They used to cycle from Tulla and White Case or Gunlow. Cycle mind. And a lot walked it. And they walked it from Flagmount down here and so did we walk it. And we meet there along the road and we down together and back. You wouldn't bring a girl into the dance because you wouldn't be able to pay for her. But you'd surely bring her home if she was home, which would do. And lads would be jealous when you slip one of them away. It'd be sin. The shouting and the blackguarding after would be worth anything. Harmless blackguarding. We didn't pay at all because we went in the exit door, but we had the money before we started, out of rabbits. The rabbits was just about to be nearly finishing up after the war, but they were selling all the time. And you catch a lot of rabbits and stuff it into your pocket and so on. But you wasn't going to spend real money if we had it. You'd try to make the nicest shape as you could. By having the rabbits, and it would cost you nothing that way. The rabbits was around the ditches and the hills, so ferret them out of it and sell them. And you get a few old shillings and then you go for the old porter and 39 pence or 10 pence.
When I got a boyfriend, my husband at present, Jimmy Melody, we used to go to the cinema on the Sunday nights that we wouldn't be able to dance. Well, you see, the local people, they had no place else to go to, and it was a handy place to go for a Sunday night. And it was only, I think, 2 shillings or something to go into it. It was something small anyway. Well, I don't think any of the dances were less than 4 or 5 shillings. I don't think they were.
Every dance anywhere we'd hear it out Flagmount all over the country. To the school, parochial dances in the school and a house dance. And there was no need of asking us to house dances because we'd go. For certain. Anybody that would tell us over at the bridge there where there was an old man living by himself. We'd go on court there or whatever they like to call it. We'd meet there and someone proposed that there was a dance in such a place. No. And off we'd pop to the dance. And no one say anything at all. It was quite all right. Sometimes go to Noctons or Peppers and take a couple of pints and pretend to be drunk. I wouldn't say drunk for any means because we wouldn't have enough to get. But you'd half imagine you was.
One time there was 26 public house licences in Scariff. I think there's only about 12 now. The men went in and they drank their drinks and they left the women outside in the traps or wherever they felt like going to. I'd say it was around 1960 or 62 or 3 again ladies started going into bars.
There was a toilet in Scariff when I was young. There was 44 houses in that. And in Ranahumana where I lived, there was, I think there was up again 30. There's 3 in it now. There's Clare's and Jack Hawkins' son. And there's a hippie in Max that's there. I see, there's near a man at all in where there was 8 houses in a young, in a place called Scalp. And there's near a house in it now. But I had a great life like Billy, in the line of travelling through the country and building and drinking.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't change it for anything. If I had to go back again, I wouldn't change it. There'd be no hope at all of changing it. The thing was too nice and too good.
I have a picture here now of the Drama Festival Committee. And there's 19 in it. And there's only 3 of those people alive now. Harry O'Mara, Packy Mack and Paddy O'Dwyer. All the rest of them have gone to their eternal rest.
Johnny Andy said the time when he came from Canada, I asked him that question and we taken a drink. Did you see the pictures much in it, Johnny? He was a grave digger in Ontario. Only he had a stutter, you know. Oh, only Thomas, he said, if I wanted to sleep,